and I've been mining there since 1992. I also own a mine in Goldfield, so I'm just an avid miner. You know,
Yo, what's going on, y'all?
So what can you tell us about
Area
51?
Ah! Got it.
51,
I got it, y'all. I'm saved.
Like on Google Imagery, that was the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Since then, they've gone down. Everything they do is underground.
And what evidence have you come across as a miner that would corroborate your idea?
People are questioning, well, if they're going down, where is all the dirt going? Well, it's going to these nearby mines. And they're putting it in huge mountains and they're heap leaching it. And by the time they're done heap leaching a huge mountain...
Yo, we talking about UFOs, y'all.
Now, to the uninitiated...
We watching a History Channel, YouTube.
They pile the ore up into a large mountain, hundreds of feet high.
Wait 1 second, bro.
And they run hoses all the way through it, like every 2 feet. And they leach in mercury and cyanide. And what that does... All right,
so we watching...
this large,
it's called Ancient Aliens. Top alien conspiracies of 2024.
Inside the Tempute mine.
It got 111K, 111,000 views. Been out for 3 days, y'all.
But if so,
well, make sure y'all tap in.
Able to conduct such an enormous operation without arousing the suspicion of the local miners.
These mines around here have the gold, silver, lead, so any mine would be more than happy to accept the ore. And it's kind of like hush-up money. I've witnessed this hush-up and dealt with this a lot.
Hush-up of what?
Hush-up of the base. And the tunnels of Area 51.
Okay. It's sort of self-explanatory that the reason why people would go underground...
What's going on, y'all?
If there are experiments going on, that there's no interference or less interference.
Exactly, yeah.
What y'all doing, y'all? Watching this show. It's good. It's intriguing. I ain't gonna lie.
Not outward, but downward, in order to keep its top secret work even more secret than before.
It is my own belief, based on a lot of good
Richard
research,
Dolan.
that there is most likely a large... I'm
watching this. Go in there. Take that in there, y'all. I want to do all the extra stuff. I ain't trying to do all that.
They originally started doing it.
I'm trying to watch this show.
By the way, just to protect against an atomic
strike. I ain't even trying to learn about y'all life.
Soviet Union, and you need secure underground.
I have been watching History Channel for several years. Hey, yo, Greg, it's worth it. Make sure you go follow me. Make sure you go subscribe, bro.
Extra absorbent, even for your messiest.
Yeah, we on intermission right now. We got like 20 seconds.
Now you can get a great deal at the Hyundai Getaway.
Greg, where you from, Greg?
Make your next getaway your best one yet. Drive away now in one of our most
Let me know where you from, Greg.
With 0% APR and 0 payments for 90 days. Only during the Hyundai Getaway sales event.
Together, we will get back what they have stolen from us. Kindred will rise again.
Where y'all from? I don't mind seeing your children on the stream. Nah, it's not about them being on the stream. It's about them being loud. I'm trying to watch the History Channel. Not the History Channel per se. I'm from Del Rio, Texas.
That the underground operations being conducted at Area 51 are only the tip of an enormous iceberg. Is it just one of many secret government facilities?
Shout out Del Rio, Texas.
By a vast network of underground high-speed trains.
Yo, you ever thought about the Men in Black, y'all? Like, what y'all thought about that?
Said to be centered around Cheyenne Mountain.
Think that shit real? Men in Black?
Colorado Springs. This is a mountain that has been hollowed out by the U.S. military. It's the NORAD Central Command, and they go from Cheyenne.
We all that, man. Tap in.
To Dulce, New Mexico, which is said to have an extraterrestrial underground
Dulce, New Mexico, okay.
Then it goes to Los Alamos.
Los Alamos,
in New Mexico.
I'm subscribed to your YouTube channel and your Facebook page.
Roswell.
Oh, Greg, my boy. Yeah.
All of these military
Del Rio,
bases are essentially connected by a secret underground.
Yeah, bro, I'm watching this, yo. This is interesting about the aliens, bro. Interesting. Interesting.
Field Air Force Base.
But at the same time, interesting. At the same time, understandable though.
1967.
I can see us being friends with them because they're like, I don't want them to blow our country
US Air
up.
Force Captain David Freehoff joins an elite group of pilots flying America's most sophisticated spy plane.
Who else on this live? Make sure y'all go like the live.
I was an SR-71 pilot for 4.5 years. The aircraft, as far as performance,
Make sure y'all go like the live.
It was an hour from
That's the
coast to
least.
coast. It would warp your mind with that kind of performance, and you just felt so proud that you had an opportunity to fly that airplane and to be a part of that unit and those people. It was family.
That's crazy.
No one is surprised when the military assigns such an elite pilot to duties at America's most top secret Air Force base.
I worked at Area 51.
You are my
for 6
inspiration.
years,
Some days you are going to introduce me
1979
to meet Snoop Dogg.
1985.
Hey, bro.
You had to have a special
That'll be love, bro.
top
Real
secret
spill. That'll be
SBI,
love.
special
We
background
both gonna be introduced to
investigation.
him. What you mean?
Fortunately,
We going together, fuck.
while I was flying the SR.
It ain't gonna be just
It
me.
was an easy transition.
If
for
I'm
me
meeting
to
him,
move
you
from
meeting
the
him too.
SR-71 and my
We both
clearances
meeting him
and
for the
all
first time because I ain't
over
never meet
into
Snoop.
Area 51.
Along with his colleagues, Freehoff commuted each day from McCarran Airport in Las Vegas to Area 51 using a mysterious government carrier named Janet Airlines.
One of the great stories about Area 51 comes from engineer T.D. Barnes. Here's what he said. If there are UFOs being
You know it,
reverse
brother.
engineered at this base, I wouldn't know about it because you flew out in an airline, Janet Airlines, and the windows were blacked out, so you didn't know where you were going.
Freehoff noticed that on his daily commutes, a select group of scientists and military personnel also boarded the Janet 737 in Las Vegas. When the plane landed at Area 51, this group boarded a bus and headed to an even more secretive facility codenamed Site 4, or S4.
When I was there, we knew about S4, but we didn't know what they did. All we knew is there were certain people that got on the 737 in the morning, and we got to Area 51, they would take and go off in a different direction in a bus, and then we went on to the north, going up towards the hangars.
Freehoff never knew exactly what was going on at Site 4 during his time at Area 51. But when he heard Bob Lazar's story years later, he found that Lazar's description of flying to Area 51 on a Janet 737 and traveling to S4 rang true in
That's
every
crazy, yo.
detail.
Y'all listening?
I heard Bob Lazar describe getting on the 737 and fly to Area 51 and get off and go through the terminal and go to S4.
What's y'all take on that?
And everything he talked about and the way he put it, he sounded totally believable to me.
Critics contend that no actual eyewitnesses have ever come forward to confirm that Lazar worked at Area 51, much less at Site 4. But Freehoff claims otherwise.
I know people that had worked for me that after I left there, they had seen Bob Lazar there, and they admitted that to me recently. I know that his critics piled on because obviously they did not want the word to come out that there were in fact UFOs in our possession, and that he was revealing the capability to perhaps our enemies that we in fact were an alien technology.
August 1946. Esteemed U.S. naval officer and explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, one of the first pilots to fly over both the North and South Poles, organizes Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica. With 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel.
This was very important that after the conclusion of World War II, Admiral Byrd was asked if he would mount a large armada and go for 4 months. It was supposed to be that they would go in December, January, February, and March, and there was a list of military goals that they were to achieve, but by the end of February, something happened.
one of the mission's official goals was investigating sites for potential military bases in Antarctica. But during his explorations, Admiral Byrd allegedly came upon something highly unexpected.
This story is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
In his diary, which was discovered by his son after his death, Admiral Byrd tells an extraordinary story.
Admiral Byrd heard there was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the sun, under the South Pole. And when he did that, he discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temperate. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane
check outside, y'all.
When he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around him that lead him to the ground.
It's crazy, y'all.
Whereupon he's escorted into...
Dang, commercial, y'all. They gotta stop with the commercials, y'all. Hey, yo, YouTube, stop with the commercials, man. I'm trying to watch this. I'm trying to learn.
To help protect from HIV, I prep without pills.
With Amplitude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of HIV without the...
Skip it, bro. Just skip it.
A cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop this.
For UFO researchers, this account from Admiral Byrd's diary is particularly significant due to the fact that the modern UFO era began right after World War II and the detonation of the first atomic bombs. It has also been noted that a high number of UFO sightings have been reported in the vicinity of nuclear missile silos.
Admiral Byrd's story is congruent with the stories that we hear from numerous accounts of angelic or extraterrestrial type beings that are very concerned about what humanity is doing with nuclear weapons. Just ask the Air Force officers at the U.S. missile silos, the nuclear missile silos, that have seen their silos and their nuclear arms disarmed by what are perceived to be extraterrestrial beings. They're very concerned that we are ultimately not just going to destroy ourselves, but could harm our planet, which is their world as well.
Right. Right. I feel that.
If
you do be trying to harm our own place. Like we harm ourselves half the time.
Does it reveal not only that there are highly advanced beings living inside the Earth, but also that they are monitoring what happens on the surface? According to the diary, after this incredible encounter, Admiral Byrd was eager to share his story, but was ordered to remain silent.
Byrd comes back after this experience. He is taken to a government compound where he is told that he is never to speak of this publicly and that everything he says is classified.
Could Admiral Byrd's story point to a profound connection between the ancient traditions of strange beings living inside
Admiral
the Earth
Byrd
and the modern-day UFO phenomenon?
He went to the South Pole.
Ancient astronauts
went to the South Pole and the North Pole.
Yes, and believe we may be fast
he went there
approaching the time
on
when
assignments.
we find ourselves face to face with the beings.
His son found a book
Antarctica is a
telling you
land of extremes.
everything he experienced.
Nearly 98% of the ground is covered by an ice sheet up to 3 miles thick.
That's the best hiding.
As towering as Japan's Mount Fuji.
Because it's so thick and it's so cold up top that it's going to stay cold.
Temperatures regularly fall below minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds of up to 200 miles an hour. During its peak season,
thank you, Greg. I appreciate you, brother.
4,000 scientists and military.
This is good. I ain't gonna lie.
Antarctica is the last frontier. It holds our imagination. Old maps that said, "Here be monsters." The last remaining territory on the planet that could have such a designation is Antarctica.
I need to know about them Loch Ness, for real. Loch Ness.
Nearly 250 years ago. Scientists have more questions than answers when it comes to this frozen continent. Due to the sheer depth of the ice covering its landmass, the surface of Antarctica is unable to be seen with the naked eye. And ancient astronaut theorists propose that it is not just the geology that is hidden from us. They suggest there is far more human and perhaps non-human activity happening in Antarctica than we've been told.
Something seems to be going on this mysterious continent at the South Pole. And it has been theorized by a number of people that Antarctica is some kind of alien base.
Rumors of extraterrestrial activity in Antarctica have circulated for years. If these accounts are true, and there is, in fact, an extraterrestrial presence in Antarctica today, could it have been there for hundreds or even thousands of years? In July 2018, Linda Moulton Howe interviewed a whistleblower who offered to provide her with classified information regarding Antarctica on the condition that she not reveal his identity. Her source, a retired Navy SEAL who she identifies as Spartan 1, provided her with details of an ancient structure he claims to have visited during his time at the South Pole.
At that time, my rank was First Lieutenant Commander, Naval Special Operations. We were inbound the southeast coast of Antarctica. We were dispatched for, unofficially, was a research reconnaissance mission. Officially, it was to find a certain individual, obtain any information, and bring it back.
What was the date?
August 2003.
According to Spartan 1, when he and his team reached their destination, they encountered a large octagonal structure protruding from the ice. Cautiously, they proceeded to enter it.
At the very top of the first structure that we entered, there was almost 18 feet poking from the ice. The rest of it was hidden under the ice. Each door was the same, anywhere from 18 feet thick to around 30 feet thick. And even though these doors were that thick and that heavy, you could take one finger and push them and they would open. There was no resistance whatsoever.
Wow.
The outside temperature was at least 40 degrees below zero. Once you stepped inside these structures, the temperature was an ambient 68 to 72 degrees.
What about the ceilings, hallways, floors?
It was lighted from the inside, but we could not find the source of light. It was a lime green in color. The walls were lined with what I call hieroglyphics, but nothing of hieroglyphics that I've ever seen in my life.
Could there really be mysterious structures buried at the South Pole?
Why haven't we went to the South Pole, y'all? Come on. Why are we not going there right now? Trying to figure out where they coming from. Do you think that they can travel from Antarctica all the way here in the water? They technically in the water, y'all.
December 31st.
It's like the ice is so cold there, they can emerge into the water in any area.
Poverty, infant mortality, hunger, and child labor have fallen. Every measurement we use to judge
Mysterious structures buried at the South Pole. Structures
Medicine
built by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization in our remote past.
Buried underneath the ice in Antarctica could well be stone temple constructions. There could be biological material, remains of beings that lived there and could still be there. It could be the greatest reveal in all of human history.
The Bible's book of Genesis. In chapter 6, verse 9, begins the story of Noah and the flood, in which God sends a great deluge to rid the earth of sinners and start anew. Different versions of this same story exist in nearly every ancient tradition around the world.
Going back 5,000 years, we have sacred texts that tell us there was an antediluvian civilization. There was a great flood and that there were survivors. The Mesopotamians speak of this in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Egyptians speak of this in the Edfu creation text. Plato learned from the Egyptians that there was once a civilization called Atlantis that existed 9,000 years before his time.
Plato wrote about the lost continent of Atlantis in two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC. Historians and researchers have long debated whether this pre-flood civilization was purely mythological or actually existed.
Oh, Atlantis, island of Atlantis.
Could be found at the South Pole.
South to South Pole.
I think what happened in Antarctica was that approximately 13,000 years ago, that flourishing civilization that originally came from space and establishing its presence in Antarctica was flash frozen. We actually have ancient evidence of this in the form of Plato's dialogues, where he talks about the last days of Atlantis. That basically is informing us that Atlantis was an extraterrestrial colony that had established itself on Earth, and that after a pole shift, Atlantis was moved under the ice where the South Pole currently is.
Scientific anomalies, radar and satellite images, eyewitness accounts. As more and more pieces of the puzzle start to come together, might we soon be able to solve the mystery of the Antarctic continent? And if...
Alright, y'all. Hold the fucking... Yo. A lot has just happened, y'all. So, one, they got undercover stuff going on. Two, they got... they got fights. They got people that are actually seeing these aliens and talking to them, and then telling them to be quiet. So it's like,
no,
should we ever know?
What might we discover?
Modern whistleblowers still argue that there is more about Antarctica that is being covered up than we think. There are entire bases down there, entire civilizations, that the world's governments are working with aliens.
They know about the buried artifacts, they know about the ancient civilizations down there, and they know...
What's good, everybody? Nobody liking it live? I appreciate y'all either way.
Operate in Antarctica at the very moment.
Thank you for the view.
It's totally possible that Antarctica contains an extraterrestrial home base on Earth. It's a totally isolated part of the planet. It's completely uninhabited, or was until recently. It's ideal.
We might have to wake it up.
26th,
We might have to flood it out.
A U.S. scientific expedition called Operation
Ain't you able to
Hydra
put like something on it that
departs
make
for
the ice
South
melt,
Pole.
like how they used to do with
It is led by
when
a
it's frozen out here
naval
when it's
officer
snow?
and explorer, Admiral Richard Byrd.
Admiral Richard Byrd was a very important admiral in the United States Navy. He graduated the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. He fought in World War I, and after the war, he became an explorer.
In 1926, Byrd made worldwide headlines when he and Navy Chief Aviation Pilot Floyd Bennett became the first people to ever fly over the North Pole. For their efforts, both men received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later, when Byrd, at the age of 41, made the first solo flight over the South Pole, he became the youngest person ever promoted to the rank of Admiral in the history of the United States Navy. In 1946, Byrd oversaw Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition to date. The massive military convoy included 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and 4,700 troops.
The U.S. Navy sent down a flotilla of ships under command of Admiral Byrd.
What's up,
y'all? They came back after about 9 months in Antarctica. Apparently, they actually fought a battle in Antarctica, probably between remnants of the Third Reich and perhaps extraterrestrials as well. There were stories of craft coming up out of the water and attacking them.
We got 3 people in here, 0 likes. I mean, I know we talking about UFOs. Half of y'all don't even want to hear about this. It's cool. I see where y'all head at.
Said a new enemy had been discovered that could fly from pole to pole in an instant.
What if gives you a life and death type of thing? I mean, I'm just trying to learn about it, so
more than 70 years
I ain't in the shadows.
Astounding claim. A satellite image captured what appeared to be a condensed water trail from an aircraft, or contrail, that could only have been produced by something traveling at incredibly high speeds.
It extended the entire length of the Earth, longitudinally from the North Pole to the South Pole, which is 12,000 miles.
The maximum length of time that a contrail can maintain its shape is 30 minutes, but most dissipate in less than 15. Only a craft capable of traveling faster than 50,000 miles per hour, or 10 times the speed of the fastest aircraft in existence today, could leave a contrail that would stretch the entire length of the Earth without breaking up.
I've Dr. Greer documentary and videos.
It's a seeming
I got you, Linda. Thank you.
Because it meant that some object was able to traverse the entire planet from pole to pole in a matter of minutes before the contrail disappeared.
Whatever created that was going beyond Mach 10. Mach 10 is over 70,000 miles per hour. This was probably going much, much faster than that. So whatever it was something that more than likely we've never seen before.
This History Channel crazy though, like we on commercial again.
Yeah. Can you fast track me?
What y'all be watching? What y'all watch when y'all on YouTube? What y'all like to watch?
To make them just like me. They call it the fast track barista.
Make sure y'all go like the
You'll need a machine
live.
that can perform as good as a cafe machine
It's
like
free.
mine. That means it delivers the 4 keys formula like
If
all
you
these.
do it for me.
Ideal dose, optimal pressure, precise temperature, and powerful steam.
How do you know the 4 keys? Then you need the same.
Thank you. I'll take that one. We got 4 in this bed. We got 1 light. Can I get 3 more? Can I get 3 more lights?
In the 21st century, satellite photography
Turn me
has
up.
allowed
Turn me
anyone
up,
with
y'all.
an internet connection
Turn
to
me up.
access images of Antarctica. In 2016,
wherever my lights at, just turn them up.
was discovered of a seemingly man-made entrance carved into
So they got a man-made
an
entrance that goes into
mountain range.
Antarctica.
This is
From what
a
I'm seeing.
legitimate satellite image of a very
I gotta go check this out
large
yourself too. I am gonna check Dr. Greer out for
ground
you.
or the mountain range.
I got you.
This looks intelligently designed to suit a specific craft that flies through this particular opening.
Similarly, in 2018, internet researchers released the coordinates for what they describe as a UFO crash landed on the Antarctic island of South Georgia.
The photographs are really compelling.
South Georgia?
Because this is not somebody making believe something is there. You can actually
I never even heard of a
the
South
skid
Georgia.
marks. It actually looks as though an object is moving along that ice. But the thing that so intrigued people looking at those images were that the skid marks were straight.
Some ancient astronaut theorists have noted that the shape of the alleged craft is very similar to a mysterious celestial object that was detected entering our solar system in October 2017. Called Oumuamua, the object was initially identified as an asteroid, but its shape, trajectory, and acceleration were so unexpected that the chair of Harvard's astronomy department, Avi Loeb, suggested that Oumuamua might be an alien probe.
It's a very curious image of this
What?
large, oblong, tubular-shaped craft that seems to have crashed into the ice
Alien
and then
probe?
skidded along. And it really looks like this interstellar asteroid, Oumuamua, that could easily be a spacecraft.
The actual craft itself is right around 50 yards in length. This is the wider view of this object that quite possibly came in at an angle, ricocheted off of the base of this mountain, and that's what gave it the momentum to skid several thousands of feet. You can definitely see the mountain. There's some disturbance here where this track leads back to from this unidentified object. This very well could be a crash landing based off of what we're seeing at the bottom of the mountain, yes.
Is it possible that online researchers using satellite technology
What about the earthquake,
actually
y'all?
located the crash remnants of an
Earthquake,
extraterrestrial
or is that really like something hitting the earth?
to an underground alien
What's your
base?
thoughts?
There's been a lot of talk about underground
It looked like it'll
bases
fit right in there.
Antarctica.
Yo.
And certain satellite photos show mountain areas that have unusual caverns in them,
I ain't gonna
literal
lie, this is
windows
crazy, y'all.
that are the shape of a flying
Eye-opening as
saucer.
hell. Dr. Grill gonna
Is
be
it
extra
possible
high.
that secret, perhaps extraterrestrial bases are hidden beneath the ice on Antarctica? Albert Einstein's incredible legacy, which includes over 300 scientific papers, continues to influence the world more than a half-century since his death. And while Einstein redefined our understanding of the universe, perhaps his greatest contribution to mankind is still to come. Time travel.
It's Einstein's special theory of relativity, speed of light, and the general theory of relativity, which allows for the real possibility of time travel.
Some scientists today believe that Einstein's theory of relativity creates the possibility to travel through a portal or wormhole called an Einstein Bridge, a space anomaly that may actually be a gateway to parallel universes.
In the theory of general relativity, space actually acts like something that you can bend and warp and make holes in. So an Einstein-Rosen bridge is a particular example of a wormhole. And a wormhole is a structure in space and time that involves kind of tearing a hole in space, stretching the material, if you think of space being a material, and reconnecting it somewhere else.
An Einstein-Rosen bridge takes 2 points in space and connects them so that if you travel in one end, you come out the other. Even though those 2 points appear in different universes, it's essentially a teleporter, something that allows you to get between two distant places instantaneously.
Could Einstein's theoretical wormhole actually serve as a portal to another universe? Perhaps opening a gateway that will one day establish contact between humans and extraterrestrials.
When we take a look at the idea that there are wormholes and that these are actually generally accepted by some of the most brilliant individuals on the planet, what you begin to see is that all of these pieces are in place to suggest that there is intelligent life elsewhere in the universe, and that there is also the likelihood or possibility that we have had contact in the past, or have ongoing contact now, or may have contact in the future as well.
Was Albert Einstein's monumental work actually a lifelong quest to establish contact with extraterrestrials? Did otherworldly beings provide him with information about how to transcend both space and time? If so, why?
We find that the greatest discoveries across time and space don't come through hard work or intensive labor, but that really the genius somehow is able to access a realm, and that realm is able to pretty much download that information to them and makes them remember forever onwards as geniuses.
In history, you have certain people whose genius is just so incredible. It's like they're able to see the future, and they're not going to just influence the world then and in the future, but what they're going to do is going to dramatically change the world forever.
We tend to think of civilization as this slow ebb of information, that somehow across the flow of time we have progressed. But really this is not the case. We have made giant strides forwards because at pockets in time there were certain geniuses living.
Are extraterrestrials accelerating the cognitive abilities of a select few to help further the development of human civilization, as some ancient astronaut theorists believe? Could this explain Albert Einstein's extraordinary neural anatomy?
Is it only a coincidence that arguably the greatest mind in the history of the world had a higher concentration of glial cells and a wider parietal lobe than the average human brain, and was as healthy as the brain of a young man when he died? That is extraordinary evidence.
If we were able to study the brains of some of these other geniuses, Isaac Newton, of Nikola Tesla, and perhaps now of someone like Stephen Hawking, I think we would find that their brains too are significantly different than a normal human's.
There seems to be something within our DNA whereby we go in one direction and we seem to have a normal human being, but also certain things within our DNA are able to make us a genius, and definitely Einstein was one of them. But what makes this switch work is something which we have been completely incapable of answering.
The Mahabharata. In this sacred Indian text, written in the 8th century BC, King Ravita is described as traveling to the heavens to meet with the creator god Brahma, only to return to Earth hundreds of years in the future. Some researchers believe this Hindu tale may be one of the oldest records of successful time travel in the ancient past.
There's the story of a king called Ravayata, and he is taken into space to see the gods. And when he returns to the Earth, he finds that many ages have gone by, and it's been hundreds of years. And this is the kind of thing that would happen to space travelers and in time travel as well. You think you're gone for only a few days, but when you return to Earth,
you're gone for a couple centuries
that you've
or
been
decades.
gone for hundreds of years.
Yo, they keep making
Like
movies
the
like
legend
that,
of
yo.
Chaco Canyon, similar tales of time travel can be found all around the ancient world. In Japan,
This shit ain't just
the legend
a
of
coincidence,
Urashimataro
bro.
details a fisherman's visit to the protector god of the sea, Ryujin, in an underwater palace for what seemed like only 3 days.
When he returns to his fishing village, he finds that it's been 300 years that he's been gone.
300 years.
And his house is in ruins. Everybody he knows is long dead. No one remembers him or his family.
New Jersey students are going far without going so far, with a wide variety of colleges and degrees to help you get where you want to go.
And in the Hebrew Bible, descriptions of the prophet Jeremiah in Jerusalem are eerily similar to both of these accounts of time travel.
Even in the
Bible. The prophet Jeremiah was sitting together with a few of his friends, and there was a young boy, his name was Abimelech. And Jeremiah said to Abimelech, go out of Jerusalem, there is a hill, and collect some figs for us. The boy went out and collected the fresh figs. Of a sudden, Abimelech hears some noise and wind in the air, and he became unconscious. He had a blackout. After a time, he wakes up again, and he saw it was nearly the evening. So he runs back to the society, and the city was full of strange soldiers. And he said, what's going on here? What is Jeremiah and all the others? And an old man said, that was 62 years ago. It's a time travel story written in the Bible.
Southern Egypt, Agilkia Island. Here, just 6 miles upstream from Aswan, in the Nile River Valley, lies the Temple of Isis. Built in the 4th century BC, the temple was a center of worship for the Egyptian goddess of fertility and nature until the 6th century AD.
Isis became the most important deity which ancient Egypt ever had. She was married to her brother, Osiris, and together they really became the popular husband and wife to which everybody wanted to be like. She is seen as a symbol of life, whereas Osiris is seen as the deity who rules over the dead. And so, whether you are alive or whether you're dead, you can always identify with Isis and Osiris.
According to ancient Egyptian religious belief, the goddess Isis was known as the Divine Mother and believed to be the soul of the brightest star in the sky, Sirius.
To the ancient Egyptians, Osiris was Orion. That constellation actually was a literal living embodiment of the great god Osiris. Sirius was the representation of his wife, sister, and consort Isis. Together, those two essentially ruled the skies and the life of the Egyptian people themselves.
Many ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, Chinese, the Greeks, the Japanese, all had beliefs and legends that our gods who created us have come from Sirius. And this star, extremely important star to almost all ancient cultures.
This knowledge originally emerged in ancient Egypt and in Africa with the Dogon tribe, who taught that beings of light came from Sirius and created humankind.
It is clear that so many cultures possessed information about Sirius, and they single out Sirius apart from everything else. And it's got nothing to do with its brightness, it has to do with the fact that somehow Sirius is responsible for sending us emissaries who educate us.
The Singapore Air Show, February 2014. An Israeli arms company known as Rafael Advanced Defense Systems reveals details of a laser defense system capable of shooting missiles from the sky with a pulse of energy. The futuristic military hardware is called Iron Beam.
The concept of Iron Beam is that it's essentially a high-energy laser that is designed to rapidly heat up the target that it's aimed at. We're talking about aircraft, drones, missiles, anything that could launch an attack on a city could be literally destroyed in the sky by Iron Beam. It sounds very much like Tesla's death ray.
This is exactly the kind of technology that Tesla was talking about in the 1920s and 30s, of using these beam weapons to shoot down missiles and projectiles.
Your data holds insights that can transform your institution, showing where you've been and illuminating what's possible. Watermark makes finding those insights as easy as checking a box. Watermark, insights inspire progress.
You see more in your 16 years than most people see in their entire lifetime.
The War Department sided with Einstein and Oppenheimer's atomic bomb, not with Tesla. But now what we're seeing is that Israel is developing this iron beam technology because they realized that atomic weapons were far too destructive. Is it possible that Tesla developed a time viewing or time travel technology and that he became aware of these developments?
Tesla was once quoted as saying, "The present is theirs, but the future for which I have really worked is mine." Did Tesla, in fact, see into the future? Might iron beam be proof that plans for the death ray not only existed, but also may have even been confiscated and carried out by the United States government? There are those who believe that Nikola Tesla was not only in contact with extraterrestrials, but was sent here to Earth by them to fulfill a mission and usher in a new age for mankind.
Go live, you check them cars,
One of the
yo.
big questions is, who is Tesla?
Check them
Is he,
Teslas
in
out.
a sense, an avatar, an enlightened being that comes to the Earth to help humans? No one really knows exactly what's going on, but I think all great artists, and Tesla saw himself as an artist, feel that they're instruments of a higher purpose, and Tesla certainly felt that he was working along those lines.
There is an agenda for humanity. There is a plan. And in every generation, whatever power it is that's behind the plan sends to Earth certain specific souls who are by birth more inclined and able to be receptors to the higher knowledge.
Tesla knows something, y'all.
Stores, Connecticut, January 2012. In a lab at the University of Connecticut, theoretical physicist Ronald Mallet demonstrates his large-scale model of a time machine. Using a device called a ring laser that produces a circulating beam of light, the professor hopes to prove that the twisting light actually bends space, forming a loop in time.
Now what's happening here is that these lasers, even though you can't see it, they're actually creating a circulating pattern of light. And that circulating pattern of light is actually twisting the empty space in here. The twisting of space will eventually lead to a twisting of time. In Einstein's theory, the two are connected. And that twisting of time will be where time travel is occurring, because if you think of time as being a straight line, then if we twist space, then what will happen eventually is that the space will twist time into a loop.
That shit crazy,
So
yo.
breakthrough my work
I'm
is
out.
to use light to manipulate